Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Alverno's Entrepreneurial Inspiration Conversations. I'm joined today by Joeli Vargas Cortes and Dionne Grayson. Joeli, do you want to take a minute and introduce yourself?
Yes, so my name is Joeli Vargas Cortes. I am a senior majoring in business management with a minor in global studies. I am currently working at Alverno under the event and space coordination department.
Perfect. And Dionne, did you want to take a second to introduce yourself as well?
Absolutely. My name is Dionne Grayson, and I'm the owner of Building Your Dreams. We do capacity building with small businesses and nonprofit organizations, and we're a career development organization. Our largest client is Lead to Change, which is a youth leadership organization, and we do career readiness with youth and young adults.
Perfect. And Joeli just has a couple questions today, so I'll give you the opportunity, Joeli, to go ahead and get started.
Thank you. I would like to start off by asking you how, as the founder of your consulting business, Building Your Dreams, what does an average day look like for you?
Well, there's no such thing as an average day. Every day is very different, which I like and enjoy very much. There could be where I'm writing contracts, seeking out contracts, having attorneys review contracts, hiring people, all different kinds of things, doing interviews like I am today. Sometimes I have engagements at college classrooms. So the day is pretty different all the time, and I really enjoy that very much.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. Something new every day. Well, I know you have an impressive background and of like roles that you provide support to youth in our community. So, what drew you to these types of positions, and why do you continue to pursue this kind of work?
I'm going to answer that two ways. That's a really great question. I think the first one with youth development, with career preparedness, I was one of those individuals who I went to high school and the goal was to graduate high school. I wasn't someone who necessarily thought about what was next. That's not something that I was taught. I wasn't necessarily a 4.0 student and I wasn't failing either. So I was right in the middle. So I wasn't an individual who received a whole lot of opportunity for things that was past high school. And so when I graduated, I knew that there was something next because I saw everybody else around me doing things. So I applied to Alverno College as well as an HBCU, and I chose Alverno. And it was when I got to college that I really got serious about things. And just the navigation that it took me to figure out what it was I wanted to do, how to get there, exploring different careers. I think that lack of what I did not have is what really propelled me to do what I'm doing around the career readiness space. And so then the other answer to that would be such a big proponent of capacity building. I absolutely love taking things and building upon them. Every job that I've ever had has been where I was the first person in the position or I was hired to make things, to build upon things. And so it's just kind of something that I became accustomed to. And so that's the majority of the work that we do with the business that I run.
Okay, great. Sounds like Alverno really inspired you to do
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
So, how were you able to identify the needs within the community that were not being met, and what made you decide to work towards filling those gaps?
I think it's, kind of what I explained with what I didn't receive in high school. I just, like I said, I went to school and I really didn't think about what was next. And I knew that there were other young people out there who were like me. I really had to figure out a whole lot of things on my own. I gained a lot of mentorship along the way and met a whole lot of wonderful people. And so, in my doing that and knowing that I'm not the only one that's going through this, is really why I put together the career readiness program so that young people, and not just young people who don't know, but young people who do know. I think that a lot of times we're taught to go to school and get a job, but not necessarily look at the things that we feel like we were designed to do, those things that we're really great at, things that we really love. When we go to work, we spend most of our time at work. So when we go to work and we're doing those things in our career, we should absolutely love what we're doing. And so that was really the impetus for how I looked at what some of the needs are and what really drives the work that I do today.
Oh, yeah. I like how you connected it to yourself. I feel like everything comes within ourselves as well.
Really.
So, like, when did you know you wanted to start your own business, and how did you come to that decision?
Hmm. It was, there was a nonprofit job that I had, and I remember leaving the job. And I remember doing some reflection, and I was looking at my resume, and I said, I looked at it from the perspective. I said, you don't have any staying power. Every 3 to 4 years, you're looking for something different. And so at first, I really beat myself up about that because I just said, you don't have any staying power. Like, 3 or 4 different jobs and 3 or 4 years you leave. But what I really learned about myself is I love the new opportunity to build. I love the opportunity to expand upon. And when I was done with that, I was ready for the next challenge. And so, with that, that's how I started building your dreams. And when I was very fortunate right away when I did it, because I did have a reputation for that at the time, I started getting contracts right away. And so it was really a natural transition for me. It honestly was not something that I sought out at all. It was really some deep reflection and just kind of looking at myself and seeing what those things are that I enjoy doing. And then kind of looking at, why do you keep leaving jobs? Like, why is it that every 3 to 4 years that you're leaving? So that was really the impetus for me starting building your dreams.
Wow. Yeah, and look at you now doing great things. Well, in previous conversations, I know you've mentioned the importance of not comparing yourself to others, but instead comparing how to outdo yourself. Could you share some insights on how you have learned to put this into practice?
So that has definitely been an evolution. I think as we learn and grow and mature, we really learn to not do that. But what I've learned is that all of us were designed to do something very specific, and there are some things that I can do that only Dionne Grayson can do. And so I have my lane, and so because of that, I don't know that there's a reason for us to compare ourselves to one another. There are so many wonderful things that I was manufactured to do. And so it's the skill set, it's the personality, all the wonderful things that make me Dion, just like with anyone else. And there really isn't a reason to compare yourself to anyone else. And so, like I know speaking with you earlier, Jolie, you told me that you wanted to start a boutique and that you wanted to have a Western flair. So why would I, you're designed to do that. There's no way that I can do that like Joeli. So there's really no real reason to do that. So I'm pretty, over the years, I've just really learned to be comfortable with who I am and really appreciate how I was designed and have just really learned to flow in that.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. Yeah, I'm very passionate as you are. I feel like as long as we connect to what we want to do, I feel like that's the most important thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So what would you consider one of your greatest accomplishments to be?
Mm, I think I will say that, especially when I was younger, I was someone who was very, very timid and very, very fearful of a whole lot of things. And so just the evolution of not being an individual that was just so afraid of everything. I missed out on a lot of opportunities. There are some things that I did not experience because I was afraid to do so. And so just I was very intentional doing some research. The opposite of fear is love. And I got that from the Bible, perfect love cast out fear. So just doing some research around that because it was something that I really wanted to work on with myself. And then every time that emotion would arise, don't let it overtake me and make sure that I do what fear says that I can't, because I don't want that emotion to come in and take over like it's done before. So I would say that's my greatest accomplishment. And I'm saying that because it was really crippling for me early on as a youngster in my
Mhm.
20s. And so that's a really big accomplishment for me.
Yeah, that's always good to be proud of ourselves. um, I know you mentioned like personally you felt the need to like help others,
Mhm.
but was there like someone else, other persons who inspired you to answer to call to service? And did you have any mentors or a support system when you decided to start your business?
I would absolutely have to say my parents. When I was growing up, we lived in a duplex in the Midtown neighborhood, and we lived upstairs, and the downstairs was called the Ministry Center. And so we had a food pantry, we had a clothing pantry. My parents had Bible study during the week, Bible study for kids. They used to do stuff in the park. We even had, sometimes people rented out the space for their office before there was even co-working space. We had co-working spaces in our duplex. So when I just look at what my parents did when I was younger, and the outreach that they did to the community, that's something that really, really stuck with me. And I have very, very, very fond memories of all of the people that we met from all over the place. My dad, for a while, his job full time was to um, fly out to different prisons, and he would minister to people who were on death row. And he would be one of the last people to talk to those individuals. And so just that kind of service is something that was really instilled in all of us at a very early age. And so definitely my mother and my father.
Yeah, I can agree. Family has a great impact.
Oh,
Well, just like Alverno, the Alverno family, when reflecting on your time here at Alverno, what would you say was the most important thing you've learned?
Alverno was an extremely rich experience for me. To this day, I'll say it's probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done. Just because it was, like I said, coming fresh out of high school, I went to high school and you get a diploma, and I wasn't really thinking about college. So it was this whole new world for me. I absolutely loved the learning that took place. I learned a whole lot about myself. It really cultivated a drive in me that is very evident. An individual who is very competitive with myself. Um, and, even simple things as if you look on in my office, I got big post-it notes on my wall. And so when I get done with things, just the accomplishment of getting up and going and checking the thing off the list, that's a sense of competitiveness for me. And I think a lot of that came from, with Alverno, you pass a class and then you have these competencies that you have to pass as well. And so
Yeah.
that really created a drive in me that, like I said, is very, very, very evident today. And it really encouraged me to do my best. And there was such a culture of camaraderie and everybody working together, and we studied together, and everyone genuinely was looking out for your best interest. So just overall, it was a wonderful experience. But I would say probably the most thing that's most pungent to me would be just the drive and the competitiveness with myself to make sure that I'm always making sure I'm doing my absolute best.
Yes, definitely. I agree. um, so now going on to the eight abilities that Alverno strives us to learn and show throughout our career. Um, what have you? What of the Alverno teaching styles influence you in the way you interact with the youth now?
I would say, making sure that you're listening. Something that I learned early on is a lot of times we have something to say, but it's not always for us to say it. Like there's other people in the room who have a voice. There's other people who have something to say. And when I was younger, it wasn't necessarily have that way. I had something to say and I wanted to get it out, and everybody was going to listen to it. But just really learning to hear and understand other people's perspective, making sure that you're thinking about the big picture and not just thinking about what's going on with me personally or locally, but what's going on globally. And then also just learning to be a part of a larger community is something that was really impactful to me. A lot of the individuals that I went to school with at Alverno, we still keep in contact. We're very much in tune with what one another is doing with our careers.
Yeah. Yeah, building a great community here at Alverno is very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, what would you say, besides helping others, what is something that brings you joy from your work?
Some things that bring me joy would be the aha moments when you talk to individuals and they get it, especially with young people. I know that, a lot of times people say that you don't get the thank yous from young people right away, that you get them later, but we get a lot of those now. And so I love that. I love the ahas and I get it and I'm confident and I'm proud. That's something that really keeps me going. And then also a sense of accomplishment as well. I really love, and this is very basic, but I'm pretty simple. Just starting and finishing something. You see something that's bigger than you, and sometimes it scares you a little bit, but you dive in and do it anyway, and then you're done. That brings me a lot of satisfaction. I love starting something, whatever it is, and then at the end of the day, I'm finished and I can celebrate it and be very proud about it.
Yeah, definitely determination.
Absolutely.
That's very important. So, what would you say would be your best advice that you have ever received, and what would be a piece of advice that you would give to someone else?
Hmm. I would say the best advice that I've received would be around making sure that you're not just pouring out, but that you're also receiving. I think a lot of times as women, we can be really guilty of that. We have all of these mentors and all of these individuals that we're helping, whether it be in our family, in the community. But, making sure that as much as we're giving out, that we're taking time out for ourselves, that we're being poured into, whether it's spiritual, it's a mentorship or some extracurricular activities, that would by far be the best advice that I've ever been given. Didn't learn it until later because I didn't do it so well when I was younger, but that would be the best advice I've ever received and given as well. I'm a really big proponent of making sure that you're taking care of yourself. Love what you do, but love you too. I always tell people work hard, but play hard too.
Yes, for sure. Self love, self care.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what does it mean to you to be Alverno strong?
hmm So, what Alverno Strong means to me is there's a knowing that you have about what you're capable of. There's a knowing that you have about your confidence. And when you're in the community and well, for myself, I'll speak for myself, and you come across a woman that has attended Alverno, and it's like, oh, and as you kind of get that look like, yeah, I know, because we know what we've been through and we know what we got. And so automatically there's a sisterhood there, and there's really is an appreciation for the education that you receive because you know that there's no way around it. You got to work for it. There's no way around it. So that's Alverno Strong. It's a knowing about your confidence, a knowing about your community and who you are and where it is that you want to go.
Yeah, great. I definitely agree.
Mhm.
Confident in yourself is a great thing. Well, I just want to say thank you for taking the time for me to interview you. I You will be my mentor for my internship, so I'm very looking forward for that. So
Yes.
I just want to say thank you for taking your time.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, that was really great. I was sitting here taking notes as reminders for myself at points too, and I just I'm really grateful for both of you for taking the time to have this conversation and to share both your stories with our community and offering advice that I think some people need to hear for the first time and some people need as a reminder for the umpteenth time. So thank you both very, very much.
Thank you
And we're
so much.
very appreciative for you and your time and your talents.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you. Take care.